Okay, so far we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, if the calm before the storm was the last one, we're going to be going to this next one, which is Jägarsoldat number 7, and I'm just going to do the Google Translate because I don't speak some of the. I know it's night, but I don't know that much Swedish that I can just pop this off. When will we get food? Well, it's very important. Let's find out. All right, so here we go. I do believe that this is going to be with closed captions in English, which is awesome. So we've already checked out some of the things. Now, a lot of you have come back to me. No, Yotam, this is not going on the main channel. This is for Old School Nerd Live. We started this as a project to do reactions to things that are not technically music. This was a project completely for Old School Nerd Live, and it's done really well. We've found a wonderful audience that's enjoying my reactions to these, so we're going to continue. Okay, we're going to start with this one. When will we get food? Jägarsoldat, for those, now I've had a lot of people come up to me in the last week or so, messaging me. Some of them had their own opinions about what I was thinking. Some of them had their own opinions about my opinions about everything. And I need everyone to understand, I am not criticizing the way Sweden protects itself. I am not giving anyone any disparaging comments about Sweden's, how they train the military. My comments are how it's different from how we do it in America. Understand, in America, I think the biggest difference is in America, when you go from civilian to military personnel, there is a rift that's created on purpose to be a better war fighter and to separate from civilian perspective. That's the philosophy America has. I see now, after talking to a few people, I believe Sweden's philosophy is you're going to serve Sweden, you're going to be on the military. However, we never want you to psychologically separate from being a Swede in civilian life either. So they try to balance it together. And I think two things before I press play. Number one, that's going to work really well for Sweden because they don't have as many of their military that can't function in civilian life after service. Very important. However, Sweden does not have the op tempo or military scope that America does. Sweden is not responsible to do peacekeeping around the world. For some reason, America's always been stuck with that. It's not political, I'm just saying. So the op tempo is different. Sweden is just focused on themselves, and that's fine. That's their job. And then so Sweden focuses on their civilians serving the country, but then being able to go back to civilian life and having it less dramatic. It's going to help their citizens in the long run to live normal civilian lives after their service. It's going to make it easier for them. I totally get the benefits of how Sweden does it. I'm not used to it. So when people see these videos, please don't think I'm knocking Sweden. I'm not. But a comment that I've been getting a lot is that Sweden's military is for self-defense only. America's is for offense. That's why it's different. And so they threw shade on America, and Sweden makes some of the most devastating offensive weapons in the world. In fact, they have one of the most effective long-range standoff cruise missiles anywhere. The Swedes. Why? Because they're not dumb. Yes, Sweden has a defense posture. They've had historical neutrality up until like the last 2 years when they joined NATO. But don't say that Sweden doesn't have offensive weapons. They have some of the most devastating weapon systems in the world. And I think they have them because they live really close to neighbors who would take advantage if they didn't. It's just the focus. Is it wrong? No. It's not my place to say it's wrong or it's right. I'm not Swedish. Same thing goes for America. Do I think that America's presence militarily in the world is the best? No. But do we have a choice? I don't know. It just doesn't seem that way. I don't know. I'm not getting political with this crap. So my videos about this, I need people to stop doing comments trying to politically analyze my reaction to a Swedish military video. It's not going to help you. I'm coming at it as an American who served as a medic in medical service to the United States military and then focused on training others after that. I'm looking at how we train our soldiers from that perspective, and I want to see how Sweden does it, because from people that I've spoken to in the United States military, sometimes when they do cooperative actions or cooperative missions with other countries, they come back and go, that country wasn't very good, or this country lacked this. They don't say that about the Swedes, the Nords, or the Finns. They're like, no, they're pretty badass. Why are they badass? That's why I want to see this. How can you be Swedish, which is one of the happiest people on the planet, and still be effective and have hardened US military people going, oh, no. They're badass. I just want to know. So join me. We're going to go to episode 7 now, when we're going to get food. That's the name of the episode. Let's do it.
Det är nog bland det värsta jag gjort. Borde liksom inte över en.
Om de tar maten så har man ändå fått i sig mycket.
Men är du väldigt glad?
Det är kallt och det är kul. För det är beryktat som den tuffaste utbildningen du kan göra.
Det är så himla bra!
I'm gonna, okay, Gamtruck Torn. Welcome in. That has never been the case. Sweden, Finland, and Norway have always used long-range rifles. That has never been the philosophy. In fact, for defense, the Finnish developed the biathlon. Arctic troops with long rifles that could stay out in front of troops and decimate them, being, long-range cruise missiles, yes. Long-range rifles, no. The long-range evasion game, that is the hallmark of Nordic troops. Nobody does it better. And one of the things that we've always said is, if you want to fight the Swedes, fight them in Texas, where you have an advantage. If you try to fight the Swedes, the Finns, or the Nordics, or the Nords in Scandinavia, ask Russia how that's turned out for them the 4 times they've done it. Not a good thing. So, in fact, it's interesting that we mentioned that long-range rifles and sniper tactics and hit and fade operations are a hallmark of the Finnish, the Swedish, and the Nordic militaries for defense, because they use the natural environment to their advantage, their athleticism to their advantage, their precision to their advantage, which is funny because tomorrow I'm doing a Fat Electrician reaction about some stuff, and the Fat Electrician and his friends love using Norma ammunition, which is a Swedish ammunition company that specializes in long-range rifle rounds. Some of the best ammunition for long-range rifle target shooting and hunting comes from Norma, which is a Swedish company that's been in business making some of the best long rifle ammunition in the world for over 120 years. Yep. The Swedish have been neutral. The Swedish have kept to themselves. The Swedish are passive in their position. The Swedish would rather defend, but don't mess with them. Just because they choose not to doesn't mean they can't. The Finns, same way. The Nordics, the Nords, the same way. The Danish, the same way. They would rather be on the side of peace, but don't poke the bear. Just don't. With that restraint comes discipline, specialization in technique, and a perfection. Yeah. Okay. Switzerland is neutral, right? Every adult in Switzerland serves in the military. And when they leave the military, they take their rifle with them. Does that sound like a neutral country? No. They have some of the best anti-aircraft systems and the largest elaborate set of bunker systems in the world, Switzerland. And they're neutral. Why? They are neutral. But they're not going to roll over. Any country would really have to think twice about trying to invade Switzerland. It's a small country, but terrain and preparedness, I wouldn't do it. Just saying. We learn a lot by paying attention to other countries. It's true. It's crazy.
Det är ju så här, vi ska ut vår 3:e vecka i fält här.
Försvara. En riktig höjdpunkt där.
Folk tänker, det här kommer bli det roligaste fältverkligen i mitt liv. Och vi ska skjuta på skjutbana, vi ska skjuta löst. Och så inte med det, utan då fick vi också ut 3 hela dygnsportioner med mat.
Massa bars, det var någon chokladkaka eller citronkaka i den.
4800 kalorier i varje portion. Då tänker ju folk, det här kommer bli lyx.
Det var kul, det kommer bli svingott, slipper man ju smuggla med sig eget.
Sen började någonting här.
3 sådana påsar så bara, hopp, vi ska ut i fält 5 dagar, fan blir det här?
Och då blir man ju lite så här kluven. Men då tänkte vi, okej, 4800 gånger 3 på 5 dagar. Lite under 3000 kalorier per dag. Ja, men det är väl helt okej. Det kan man...
I'm really interested in this. On how they handle rations and nutrition in the Swedish military. Why? Because it is a misconception that because you live in a cold environment country, you don't need as many calories as you do, say, in a warm climate country like where I'm from. That is completely opposite. Apparently, not during the summer, but in Arctic conditions, if your calorie rate is not high enough, you can freeze to death. You are burning calories just to stay warm. So your calorie intake needs to be monitored. It has to be managed. You have to do it smartly. I didn't know that until I asked someone who went to Arctic training in Alaska. They were like, dude, we were eating 5,000 calories a day. We were doing 3,000 calories a day training in Texas in the summer. But we were pushing more water. And they were like, dude, just sleeping, you burn 1,000 calories. I'm like, what? I was like, they're like, yeah. Your body has to generate the heat to keep functioning, so it's in a constant state of burn. And I was like, wow. So that's very interesting to know that. Also, I found out that the Jäger name, the Jäger patch they get, means hunter. The English translation of Jäger is ranger or hunter. It depends upon the context. Apparently in this, it's the light infantry or hunters. They go out in small squads, and it's perfect for the Swedish terrain. Sweden in a military conflict is not going to be putting massive division versus massive division. The country is the territory is not suited for open land combat. It's designed in the lakes, the mountains, the marshes, the Arctic areas, small groups, highly maneuverable hunter groups of hunters. Now, you can also say rangers because they can move individually as groups, stay mobile with little support, which is what a ranger does. However, in America, if you say ranger, that is a completely different connotation. For us, it's infantrymen. Rangers are a much higher step above. Ranger school is volunteers only. It is the Army Rangers are basically like a special operations unit. Okay, they always have been. In the US military, because we have 4 branches, you have multiple different types of things. But if we stick to the Army, there are Army Rangers, okay? There's Army Infantry, Army Air Assault, and Airborne. It's a secondary set. Then you have Rangers, which is a selection process, testing process, and training process. Then there's 2 different elite operatives. Everyone's heard of Delta Force. Delta Force is still not officially on the books as being real, but everyone knows it's there. That is completely off the books, the elite of the elite. It's a selection process, invite, qualify after years of service and specialty training. Good luck getting in that. Only certain people could ever achieve that. Then there's Special Forces. Now, people think that Special Forces is like SEAL teams where you're doing special operations combat. Special Forces is actually advisors. They have special training in guerrilla warfare. But the key to a Special Forces operator is not that the Special Forces operator is some kind of badass soldier. No. A Special Forces operator's main goal and what makes them so effective and what makes them famous is the ability to go into a country. Okay, let's say Sweden gets attacked from Finland. Not going to happen, by the way. Sweden gets attacked by Finland and they get overrun. And there's a Swedish underground, a resistance. America would send in Special Forces advisors to Sweden to blend in with the civilian population and teach, and they would find Special Forces operators who spoke Swedish and Finnish. They would send them in. This is if Sweden couldn't do this already. By the way, Sweden can do this already. But they would go into a country. I'm using Finland and Sweden because they would never attack each other. And also, they don't need our help. But let's just say that they were in need of help. A Special Forces operator from the US would understand the culture, the language, but understand the environment, what's available, and the population groups, and facilitate a force multiplier mission. A Special Forces operator's job is to go in groups of 1, 2, 3, 4, or possibly 5, but never really more than 4, into a country that needs assistance to help train the local population, similar to the French resistance during World War II, on how to take things that they have available to fight back. And by one Special Forces operator trains, let's say they train 12 people. The first 12 people that they train, they're not training them to go fight. No. They're training them to train others. And then those next 12 people train 12 more. And those 12 train another 12. And then those 12 train, and then you have a full-blown uprising resistance movement on your hands. That's Special Forces. But for us, and then there's B team, which is not even on the books. We don't even really talk about it. That's another part of the Army we don't even talk about. Actually, it's not even the Army. It's combined ops. It can be from all the different branches. But anyway, but for Special Forces, that's different. Now, to qualify for Special Forces or to qualify for Delta Force or B team, a lot of those members go through Ranger training first. The Ranger training in the United States Army is special ops. Behind the enemy lines, multiple different weapons, special tactics, verified to where you can use any weapon of any arsenal in the world. It's specialized training to where small groups of rangers can cause crazy havoc behind enemy lines, or special operations quick in and out. That's just always been the ranger philosophy in America. It's taking basic infantrymen or basic artillerymen or tankers and just elevating their training to be the absolute best of what we do. And it's a whole doctrine, training, selection process. For the Jäger in Sweden, I don't believe that their ranger is like that. Their ranger / hunter is just a highly mobile group of soldiers in a small unit that they start together, they learn each other's jobs together, they progress together, and that unit becomes a family. And that mobile unit can be sent quickly and knows that because their philosophy and their relationships amongst themselves is tight from the very first day, they become highly effective. And that is something that Sweden has that even America doesn't have. We talked about it last video, how in America, if you train for a job, I'm a medic. If I go to a unit that's going to have infantrymen and a heavy weapons expert and a driver and a medic, they're all trained separate. They don't meet each other in an operational unit until after all their training is done. In Sweden, they're starting day one with that group, and that group is going to be assigned different jobs to make them so the group mentality, the camaraderie, the unit cohesion, that is ingrained from the first day, which makes them very, very highly effective. It's a philosophy that Sweden is doing here, we don't have in the US until later on in your military service. And I think it's because the military in the United States is so large, it's really hard to do that because there's so many moving pieces. But anyway, I digress. When I saw the Ranger patch or the Hunter patch, I wanted to make sure that I clarified because a few of the previous videos, Americans were commenting on my reaction as well as Swedes going, I think you don't understand what Jaeger means. And I've kind of talked to some of my Swedish friends, and one of the members of my community served in a unit just like this. And they explained, this is correct. Keep doing it. You're having a good time. You're discovering cool stuff. Keep going. Now we're going to talk about food. Let's keep going.
Klara oss på. Så folk börjar ju då ransonera den här maten, vilket var det största misstaget vi någonsin gjort.
Det jobbigaste, det är ju att man inte får veta vad man ska göra sen eller vad som kommer ske härnäst.
Poängen är att ni ska inte veta över tiden exakt vad som ska hända. Jag har aldrig i en skarp situation eller ens i övningssituation haft alla ingångsvärden.
Det var ju typ november, så hade vi genomgång i kallt väder och hur man ska förebygga förfrysningar, vad som händer med kroppen, hur man ska hjälpa sina kamrater.
Just nu håller på och gräver liggvän så att vi kan sova gott.
Det är så fint kallt.
Jag är kall.
Jag har en jävla längtan att få krypa in och puppna sovsäcken. är så jävla skön alltså.
Det är kul det man får göra. Det är ju...
Samling runt det här värnet. Duka, puppa i rätt riktning, fältjacka i toppen. Det kan vi ju nyttja som någon form av kudde.
Det vi övade på var ju liksom att ta oss ut snabbt för att kunna verka ifrån där vi sover.
Ta sin automat.
I think it's really cool that they have the sleeping bag inside of another bag, which I believe is Gore-Tex, which if it starts to snow overnight, they can be completely buried in snow and they're completely dry and warm, which is crazy to me.
Kabin. Och så är det ju bara att krypa fram 30 centimeter. Alla är stilla och tysta. Kan vi lyssna ordentligt?
Och sen så får ju en börja klä på sig.
Vi sov ju då i enmannatält. Större delen av fältveckan.
Denna period heter försvara, och att jag tror försvara innebär att vi kommer få springa upp mitt i natten.
Fick så ganska mycket. 5,5 timmar tror jag. Så det var skönt. Man kollar matpåsarna. Det man har förbrukat och har man för skräp och sådär.
Och så sitter man där i en cirkel och lämnar in all sin mat. Och då blir man så här, va? Vad händer med min mat?
Ja, tuggummin, snus.
Allt skulle fram.
Jag snusar, jag tar fram mitt snus.
Hur mycket snusar du på 5 minuter?
Ändå. Jag får njuta av den sista prillen jag har nu, eller? Jag var lite ledsen att man inte åt mer innan. Man trodde det skulle komma sista dagen, så att man försökte hushålla lite.
Många befäl ärligt talat blir förvånade. Bara, gud, har ni bara ätit så här lite? Varför åt ni inte mer? Och då blir folk så här, men ni sa att vi skulle till fält 5 dagar. Då svarar befälen, ja det ska vi. Då blir folk bara mer ledsna.
Alltså jag tänkte inte mer på det egentligen. Så jag fattar ju kanske att vi kanske är utan mat i 24 timmar. Det tänkte vi ju. Okej. Ja, det kommer ju bli jobbigt.
Nu blir det också alltså.
Ja, det blir fan.
Now, this seems like a very odd thing to do, but wars are not won with bullets. Wars are won with rations. Wars are run with fuel. Wars are won with logistics. You can win a battle with bullets. Wars are won with supplies. You know who said that? George Patton. You know who else said that? Dwight D. Eisenhower. You know who else said that? Pretty much every successful flag or field marshal or general in all of history understood that you win wars with supplies, production. That's how you win. Teaching these young people to prepare for not having is so important. And the fact that they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do without food for 24 hours? That happens a lot. I was in the most well logistical supported military in the world. I can't count. It's way more than 2 hands. And during my service, the number of times we didn't have rations or a hot meal in the field for 24, 48. I think the longest was 5 days. And we had 1 MRE amongst 3 of us, and we rationed that out. We hydrated and we didn't move a lot. We changed our philosophy. We changed our op condition to retain fuel to survive. It's defense surviving. It's a different, and teaching them this now is very important. Remember what we talked about just a few minutes ago. The whole idea of the hunter group is to be able to be separated from logistics, separated from the military logistical machine. And can you still, maybe not thrive, but can you defend? Can you survive, hold your position, and do what Sweden needs you in that moment until you're relieved? That's a lesson that I find philosophy-wise, it's really awesome that Sweden does this. And I'm assuming a lot of the other fellow countries like Finland, Norway, and the Danes, and I'm sure they all do that, because one hard snowstorm, one strike, whether it be a natural situation or a military situation, you can be cut off from your logistical support for up to a week, if not more. How do they react to it? Well, let's show them. Let's see how they do. And then once they might panic or they suffer a little bit, then we're going to come back and show them the best way to do it. Like they said, your military commander was like, why didn't you eat more? And they were like, well, we thought we were going to be out longer. Oh, you will. It's very interesting.
Löparskor, ingen mat. Vi kommer att ha riktigt dåligt om några timmar. Men det är så kul att se hur man reagerar på det. Jävligt alltså.
Axel, en rolig jävel som man har kul ihop med. Och väldigt hängiven att lösa de uppgifter vi får.
Han lyckas alltid se någonting positivt i det vi gör. Han bara, men det här är bra. Det är förtjänst. Eller det här är bra för då blir vi bättre på det här. Det är jag väldigt avundsjuk på. Att han har den motivationen. Han är nog en av de som har mest motivation av oss alla. Och det gör honom väldigt, väldigt stark. Vi skulle springa 3 varv runt Vegårdsplan då.
Färdiga. Gå!
Och Axel var så jävla snabb.
Härligt! Bra! Härligt! Krigare!
Do not be surprised if the cadre are like, good, great, awesome, lovely, keep going, push it. And then at the end of all this, they're going to go, good job, Axel. We love your motivation, but you should have paced your energy better. Because now he spent a bunch of energy that he's not going to be able to recover. It's all about that. In the U.S. military, in the group that I was in, we learned that when you were in field ops, there's military pacing you had to use. The idea is not to win the moment, to win the task. You focus on getting through each moment one at a time, but you prepare to win the task versus that immediate moment. So yes, he's taking off and he's running all out and he's blowing all his friends out. Do not be surprised in 2 days he is useless. It happens. They're learning some really valuable lessons here. That don't land on top of your weapon, that's going to hurt. Dude, that probably hurt a lot. Beware the carbine.
Det är helt annan känsla att springa 1000 meter liksom vanligt fritt. Det här är ny nivå.
Under veckan så gick vi aldrig med vår tyngsta utrustning. Vi har ju en stor ryggsäck och en liten ryggsäck. Vi övade på att gå med den tunga ryggsäcken.
We talked about that before. They have those 2 backpacks. There's the field tactical pack, which is smaller, carries everything they need for a mission. Then there's the large pack, which contains everything they need to be in the field for an extended period of time, plus probably their winter gear, which in Sweden has to be substantial. Never carried an Arctic gear pack, and I don't want to ever in my life. Yeah. It's 70 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and it's December 21st. 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a hot summer day in Finland, by the way. I know.
På någon kilometer. Det var så tungt att gå med den. Vi kommer behöva använda den senare. Säkert upp i viktklasser upp.
Anthax, you say that the Danish have a similar series to this on YouTube, a whole series? Is it in Danish? If so, does it have subtitles? I'm waiting for his answer. If he says yes, guess what we're doing after this? I told you guys, find me more military trainings from other countries that I could look at and go, that was pretty smart, or I don't understand. That's the whole point. I want to understand because I think it's awesome. The weight class is up to 70 kilos. Jesus, that's heavy.
Mot 70 kilo. Det är lite läskigt att tänka så att jag kan behöva ta på mig någonting som väger 70 kilo på ryggen.
Vi skulle testa på att sova i riktig jägarterräng, så gick vi in i snårskog, alltså granar som stod riktigt jävla tätt, små granar, sly typ.
Så att en motståndare som försöker angripa oss får så svårt som möjligt att samordna sig.
En person ska alltid vara vaken och försvara ditt område. Så då sover du till exempel 2 timmar och sen är du vaken 2 timmar och försvarar. Så sover du 2 timmar och sen är du vaken 2 timmar och försvarar.
You also have to be very aware. This is something I do understand. I don't know about Swedish forests, but I do understand German forests and Austrian forests and forests in France. When you forage, certain things can be totally edible in certain months of the year, and then in other months of the year, they are do not eat. There are different times of the year that different things can be foraged and some things cannot. Some things that you can eat in the winter, you eat them in the summer and they are a diuretic. You will dehydrate fast or whatever. So it's training not just what you can, but when you can. It's crazy information. Don't ask me how I know that.
nästa dag. Det var ju första dagen utan mat.
Så vi har inte ätit sen igår middag. Så jag hoppas att vi får äta idag. Men det är bara i början som det är värst. Då är man ju hungrig hela tiden.
Vi sitter och pratar säkert en timme om vilken pizza vi ska äta när vi kommer hem. Och vi ska få något pålägg, ost. Drämma oss bort.
Somebody needs to punch William in the face. Dude, if we were in field and we were doing a logistical elimination training for a couple days and someone started talking about what hamburger or what they want on their steak, we beat the crap out of that guy. Dude, shut up. We're all thinking it. Don't talk about it. It's awesome to see it's not just us. Way to go, William.
Men annars är det kul. Nästan hela tiden.
Detta är vår skyddsställning. Jag kommer utse en observatör som följer med mig.
Vi skulle öva på eldöverfall med lång förberedelse. Då kan man lättare bestämma vart alla ska vara. Man kan bestämma mot vilka punkter folk ska skjuta.
Vänstra vägen. Stopp 100 meter. Lastaren. Vänster 5 meter.
För att öva på detta använder du lösplugg. Det låter som ett riktigt skott. Du skjuter ut mer eller mindre bara pulver. Det blir väldigt ofarligt. Det är på det sättet vi övar på eldöverfall.
Kom igen! Jag vill inte vara kvar! Bra på en kolonn för mig. De som inte är klar, anmäl nu. Bra, på en kolonn. Utvärdera sittställningen.
Man vet vart all personal är någonstans.
Absolut.
Överblick över området. Jag ska verka i.
Det är tunga ord.
Måste alltid vara förberedd med vatten. Det är så jävla kallt på kvällarna och så vidare. På nätterna så. Det är gött att ha lite varmt vatten man kan dricka i termosen.
Hungrig?
Man vill uppleva det på riktigt. Men sen så fort man väl är där ute då blir man bara så jävla hungrig.
I find it very interesting that I found out from a friend of mine whose family is from Vietnam. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying his family's from Vietnam. And I found out that they drink hot water, like warmed up hot water regularly. In America, drinking things cold is the normal. Chilled, iced, cold. We do drink coffee hot. We do drink tea hot. But to drink water hot is very unnatural to American people for the most part. And I find that people will drink hot water at night to warm their bodies before they go to bed. I didn't know that. And apparently it's very good for digestion and all these other things. I'm telling you, man, the things you learn just by paying attention to other cultures is awesome. These guys are drinking hot water so they don't fucking freeze to death.
För mig kom det ungefär vid 26 timmar utan mat. Då började jag må riktigt illa.
Okay, so what they're doing is their bodies are starting to fall into what's called emergent acute acidosis. It's where the body does not have sugars naturally from complex carbohydrates and proteins to feed the cells, both for exertion, but also for basic body function. When you reach acidosis, your body begins to burn your fat reserves. When your body shifts from one to the other, the body also begins to give you subconscious warning signs. Lethargy, you'll start to hear things, you'll start to hear echoes, your sense of smell will change, your taste buds will start to heighten, you'll start to taste things in the air, your hands will begin to have a delayed reaction. These are not just because you're lacking sugar. Your body will burn fat, but your body will also subconsciously tell you and put you in the mindset subconsciously to be constantly alert for sources of food via smell, sight, hearing, things that sound. Also, people talking about food will begin to irritate the crap out of you whether you're a good person or not, it is just something that right now I'm talking about it and my stomach just growled. Your body is intuitive to the surrounding. So what he's talking about right here, and he may not understand it yet, is your body just in little over 24 hours, you're breaking the pattern. Your subconscious, your brain runs certain things subconsciously. In other words, no matter what you're thinking or what you know, your body subconsciously will do certain trigger actions based upon current conditions. If you starve yourself for 24 hours with no food and only water, your brain subconsciously goes into the mode of, hey, I don't know when our next meal will be. Let's go into acidosis and start shutting down to conserve energy for the long haul. Your brain will subconsciously go into crisis mode. Even if somebody says, oh, we're going to eat in 6 hours, it's the worst 6 hours of your life because your brain subconsciously can't equate that. Can't take that chance. Let's shut it down in case we're not going to get food. So by regularly having meals, for me, I eat meals at the same time of day, every day. My body, if I miss that meal by 2 hours, my body goes into an acidosis. I start feeling weird. These young people are learning the subconscious triggers and safety mechanisms that their bodies have versus what they're accustomed to. You can train the body to accept this. You can train the body to anticipate this. This takes time, effort, and psychological preparedness. These young people don't have that yet. They're learning it. It's a very interesting thing. One of the things that was one of my tasks in the military was my job was to train soldiers of varying jobs, specialties, and levels, preventive medicine, how to take care of their body, how to take care of infections, wounds, preventively, how to preventively keep the body from damage, injury, poisoning, contamination in the field, depending upon where they were going. I would talk to them about what's in their environment, what to look out for, those things, how to participate for those things. When you don't know, if you drop a boy from Texas in Sweden in November, the first thing this boy from Texas is going to think about, it's going to get cold. Yeah, the cold will kill you probably faster than everything, but there's 37 other things you have to be aware of if you intend to survive and thrive in that environment. Do you know what they are? Let's take a look at the list. That was my job. In the military for like 2.5 years of my military service, I got pushed into that. Training, environmental awareness, environmental conditioning. So yeah, it was quite interesting. So when I see them doing this, I think it's really awesome because they're training these young people, these disciplines, and this is basic military training for them. But they're also learning, I'm Swedish, I'm from here, but even though I'm local, this place could kill me pretty fast because I'm a pretty fragile human in this environment. They're learning. It's so awesome to see. And the cadre is really teaching them from an intelligent, experienced perspective rather than we're just going to tell you why and just accept it. It's important.
Där reagerar olika. Vissa blir illamående när kroppen börjar förbränna fett och vissa är opåverkade och bara lite generellt trötta. Det finns ju ett utbildningssyfte i det. Att vi kombinerar den med annan utbildning är ju bara för att bevisa för dem att det kan verka och kan lösa uppgifter.
Nej, men vi har inte ätit på 50 timmar. Så man börjar bli väldigt slut.
De skyttar 100 meter rakt fram.
You're going to find yourself weak. After 50 hours, you're going to find yourself weak. things will seem different. Your coordination will lax due to there's complex proteins that certain nutritional aspects affect different functions of the body. Things like acute vision start to lapse. So they're actually having them do complex tasks to see and to show them how their body is going to literally lie to them. Doing rifle training, 100-meter shots, very difficult. Even with a scope, because you won't be able to keep still. Your eyes will flutter. Your eyes will start to spasm a little bit because they're lacking an amino acid that comes from food that isn't produced by the body naturally. Just saying. Anyway.
Känner en doft av ammoniak.
Nice. They just pulled a gas drill. That's awesome. That's when you do it. You want to do these innate skills that you do automatically without any preparedness. How do you do these skills when you're completely sleep deprived? You're sleep deprived, you're malnutritioned, your body is all out of whack. How do you act on the basic functions, the instinctive functions? I like what she's doing. She's abandoning it. There's no confusion. She goes straight into the task. Life-saving task first, then we reevaluate. She's doing it well. This is awesome. Clear, and right back into it. Right back into it.
Vi fick gå in till Tillmsvallen och vila oss. Vi fick ingen mat. Men när man inte har någon mat i kroppen blir man ju också väldigt trött. Så när man väl får vara inne så kan man ju vila.
Ja, kanske 300 cheeseburgare.
Ja, men 20 tänker många.
1000 per cheeseburgare.
Det är bra. Jag börjar bli lite hungrig. Annars är det bra.
Börjar bli.
Ja.
Gustav is looking a little bit happy. He's looking a little, look at them eyes. Look at his eyes. He's looking a little bit bright-eyed I think he's been sneaking food. He's been sneaking food. Look at him. He's look at everybody else is kind of have that like that listfulness. This dude is way too alert. So here's the thing. Does that mean he's cheating the system? No. It just means that his body reacts to this a little bit different. They're going to document that. They're going to document that this soldier reacts to food deprivation for this many hours. This is his score. This is his alert score. This is her reaction score. They document all this into the soldier's record. Him sitting here in this embankment where basically you could literally just fall asleep. No food, 50 plus hours, and he's bright-eyed, focused, doing all this stuff. They're going to document that in his records because he would be a prime candidate for a scout, a prime for a spotter, a sniper, people that go out long times with no food, no nothing, but they can stay alert. It's some of this is training, some of it is innate evaluation. Did you know that? We do it in the military, all forms of military. In the United States military, from the first day you arrive, every action you do, every reaction to certain conditions is documented and it's evaluated. That's how they determine who's the best candidate for the SEAL team, who's the best candidate for Delta Force. Delta Force selection is done by invitation. They go through all your records, all your reactions to everything you've ever done. How have they reacted to this? How have they reacted to this? And based upon that evaluation, they can look for candidates. Just based upon this, if it's 50 plus hours and he innately is spry, open-eyed, and alert and being able to, that's someone that tells me if he's stuck to the evaluation parameters and hasn't cheated dietarily, his body is innately adapted to this. This could be something special that we could offer him and say, okay, based upon this, we think you're a candidate for this. What do you think? That's how that happens. From situations like this. I know it seems weird, but if I'm the medical NCO, the medical training cadre for this group in the US military, and they're having me check for these things, I'm going to document that, Gustav, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, everyone around him is dead asleep on their feet, but he's still focused after this amount of time. Yeah. Very interesting. I do find it interesting they caught him talking like he is. Watch this.
Var ju hungrig första typ.
Käften med historiskt.
Första 24 var man typ hungrig.
Direkt efter det pepperoni-pizza. Direkt efter det kladdkaka. Sen Ben och Jerry.
You see how they're talking? And they're talking, but they're in the rest position. And they're not able, they can't even pick up their eyes. They're literally daydreaming about food. And their attention is down to the ground. Whereas the other one is like, you look for that. That's a skill. That's an innate skill that he has. It's not trained. It's innate. You document that.
Sen efter det skulle jag gå vidare till chips och dipp. Och sen avsluta med godis. Och sen bara krascha i soffan och sova i 12 timmar.
Ja. Alltså jag hade nog inte börjat just där. Jag hade nog... så mycket jag ska...
Och vitlöksbröd till spaghetti och köttfärssås.
Garlic bread and spaghetti. That sounds good right now.
Vi ska åka hem. Vi kommer inte få åka hem. Eller vi får någon mat överhuvudtaget.
Alltså jag tror löjtnanten föddes i uniform och kom ut och liksom gjorde honnör direkt.
Kan du tänka dig löjtnant gör GMU?
Nej.
Eller hur?
Han var färdigutbildad elitsoldat när han föddes. Han är väl det befälet som aldrig släpper masken. De andra befälen kan ju så här...
Fair enough. They're going to feel that way. Because, please understand, when you join the American military, new recruits or new privates in the American military automatically think that drill sergeants and drill instructors are super soldiers. They're not. They've been in for a while. They show aptitude. They get great scores. They do well in their training. They do well in their operations. Then they go to a school to make them really polished and kind of fine-tune their abilities. Doesn't mean they're elite. They've just done it way more than you, so it just seems like they have all the right answers and all the right abilities because they've done it. You haven't. So that perspective can seem that way. To them, this lieutenant is goddamn Chuck Norris. But he's just a lieutenant that's just been there and he understands. But to them, that's all that matters. And for the lieutenant, he's earned that spot because he can project that in his training. And he seems to be extremely organized and he gets it. So yeah, their lieutenant's a top notch. Very strong soldier.
Skämta någon gång ibland och skratta sådär. Men löjtnanten, han är inne i sin löjtnantsroll.
That's right.
Han är duktig på det han gör, utan tvekan.
You know what? I wonder if those soldiers realize the reason why the lieutenant is the way he is because that lieutenant is responsible for every single one of your safety, your career, your training, and your lives. It's a lot of responsibility. So if it seems like the lieutenant is super focused, it's because he takes his job super seriously, and that's why he has that job. Good for you, good for him. That's why.
Ja, det känns lite spännande. Man vet inte vad som väntar nu.
Och efter det marschade vi väldigt långt.
Sen skulle vi lägga oss i förläggning.
Och helt plötsligt så kändes det jävligt kallt. Allting ser normalt ut, bara väldigt mer vitt än vanligt. Och då har det blivit frost överallt. Yep. Det känns som flera timmar vi bara satt där och väntade på att alla förberedelser skulle bli färdiggjorda. Och samtidigt så började kylen bita in och det känns för jävligt.
Alltså fy fan, jag borde bli galen.
Jag såg en Subway-macka sväva förbi.
No!
Duka tälten.
Då går och lägger oss. Okej, man tänker inte på det. Att lampan är ett sådant bra verktyg. Att jobba i totalt mörker är väldigt, väldigt svårt. Vi ska ju agera väldigt nära fienden. Och om det då lyser för mycket eller låter för mycket kommer du bli röjd. Och om du blir hittad så utgör det en jättestor fara för dig själv och för en grupp.
This seems like something that's just, okay, they're just trying to survive in the cold. This is why the Finns, the Swedes, and the Nords, you don't really mess around with them in the cold weather environments. Because even from the beginning, their light discipline, their noise discipline, their detection discipline, even when it's cold, is super, super attuned from the very beginning. Because they know that in Arctic and cold weather conditions, they don't have to make a bunch of noise. They don't have to light a bunch of fires. They don't have to do all this stuff to survive. A normal infantry person, it's heaters and lights and chaos. They don't need it, which is why they're so dangerous in cold conditions. But it is a learned condition. These are Swedish people. They're used to cold winters, but even they're like, this is jacked the hell up. Bring out the saunas, you know?
Därför är det väldigt viktigt med ljud och ljusspridning. Och sen när vi väl gick och la oss, då sjönk temperaturen ännu mer. Jag vet inte hur kallt det blev, men minus 7, 8, 9 i alla fall. Och det är det kallaste vi har haft hittills. Helt plötsligt hör man
awesome. And an attack at 3 o'clock in the morning when all they want to do is try to stay warm after 5 days of no food. This is so crucial. How do they react? Do they stay quiet? Do they stay focused? Do they react well? Do they get out of their bags? Do they do everything they were trained to do? This is going to be evaluated. This is as real as it gets.
Smälla ur sovsäcken och ligger då i ungefär, vad minns jag, minus 8 grader i kalsonger. Och så skriker jag, okej, du understöder, jag börjar byta om.
Blev påkomna av någon.
Och så tar vi alla kläder på oss. Och så skriker jag till förflyttning.
Det är snabba puckar.
Öka nu, sluta fippla en massa.
När man hör det ordet, efter att ha frysit så sjukt mycket, så kommer vi äntligen få röra oss. Och det, då blir det mycket bättre.
Wow.
Nu ska vi över nästa gång. Du är ute efter skogen.
Wait, hold on. The next one is survival? Then what the hell was this? Okay. This is so intense. All right, everybody. There you go. All right, so that was episode 7. Where's our food? Okay. When are we going to get food? And it ends with sleep deprivation in the frost cold in November, and they haven't had food for 5 days. 3 o'clock in the morning, flare goes up, and they get attacked in the middle of the night. And now they have to do it for real, which is awesome training. Sucks for them. I feel so bad, but at the same time, it's not me. The only way that could be worse, about a month and a half later, that would be worse. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready? We're not stopping. We got to do episode 8. Here we go. Straight to episode 8. And this one, episode 8 is called, let's see here. Okay. Episode 8. Okay. And it's this, we're doing the same thing. It is episode 8 and survival. Overlevnad. Survival. Okay. Let's do it. Yeah, like the first one wasn't bad enough. Hopefully they feed them and then do survival training. Otherwise, it's going to suck.
Det är nog bland det värsta jag gjort. Borde liksom inte över en.
Om de tar maten så har man ändå fått i sig mycket.
Men nu är det börjar likna.
Det är kallt och det är kul.
För det är beryktat som den tuffaste utbildningen du kan göra.
Det är så himla bra!
sådana där får vi elda upp där. Då sköt man ut i skogen, man såg fan knappt något.
Jag har inte kört först man riktigt poppa. Ja. Klar.
Så, det måste förflytta. Nu väntar vi på tallandagen på sig packningen.
Klar.
Ja, ska inte hit då.
Jo.
Du sa ju klar. Ja, han tappar skiten. Gå bakom då, okej. Bakåt. Kör.
Och så rörde vi oss iväg. Och vi rörde oss iväg med en hög hastighet så jag blev varm direkt och det var underbart.
Det var lite oväntat, det var stressigt, det var sjukt jävla kallt alltså. Det är han hoppas vi göra liksom. Underbart.
Now you notice how they say once we get moving, we're generating heat, which is wonderful. What are you using to fuel that heat? How many calories are you going to burn to evac, to bug out? To reposition, to get everything together, you're going to burn 1,500 calories? From where? These guys and the female recruits are going to come back and they're probably going to have lost 5 to 10 pounds of body weight in a week. And it's not healthy to do that long term, but yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. Look, wonderful because it's warm. Yeah, where'd that warmth come from? Your body generated that heat by burning calories you have not consumed. Fun. The most dangerous weight loss program in the world. Your body goes into shock when you do that too many times.
När du börjar likna. Vi kom från ungefär 2 kilometer ut med där.
Sen var det att ta sig 2 kilometer därifrån då. Ja, så var det nerför i backen.
Vi skulle ner för en backe. Sen det plötsligt så blev det halt liksom. Så insåg jag att resten av plutonen var borta liksom. Skulle gå tillbaka. Då gick vi raka med träsk. Innan vi kom tillbaka till resten av plutonen.
En person gick ner i träsket och blev jätteblöt. Sen kom vi fram till ett område där vi gjorde en mer eller mindre tillfällig bas.
Vi upp eld där. De blöta. Förstärker vår klädsel omedelbart. Så de inte fryser ihjäl. Fattat. Bra. Utöver det så är det ett runt omkring försvar till sig att sprida ut det. Samgruppera stridspar. Därefter packning av. Framåt.
Interestingly enough, you notice the lieutenant is there with them. He's there with them. It's impressive.
Det är fortfarande minusgrader ute. Så den här personen måste torka kläder, byta kläder och torka upp sig själv. För det är väldigt, väldigt farligt att vara blöt. Och där fick vi vila kanske i 2 timmar. Och återigen ingen mat.
Jag har nog aldrig frysit så mycket i hela mitt liv. Man har blivit en jävla stormar känns som. Jag har varit hemma i det civila och gått igenom detta. Så vet det fan hur jag har varit då. Men här har man ju kamrater bredvid sig som man vill hjälpa. Om den är trött, då låter man han sova först. Nej, det kommer bli en jävligt fin dag tror jag.
Ja, fan fick sova i 20 minuter. Nu, jag var fick innan men nu fick jag nu ljust ut också så det är inte helt fel.
Snackat en hel del.
Ja, varför inte?
Många åker till Asien och backpackar och åker hit till Karlsborg och fryser i minusgrader.
Nice!
Nu ska vi iväg igen då. Flyttas, klockan är 7 på morgonen. Lösa nya uppgifter.
Vi ska göra upp en eld.
Kul för det var första gången vi inte gjorde allt mobiltid och sen gick inte runt själv så att du skulle göra så här utan vi gjorde det vi hade lärt oss.
Jag tänkte tillbaka lite om natten här. När jag vaknade upp och frös. Alla de här små problem man hade innan liksom, i skolan och sånt. Liksom. Det spelar fan ingen roll längre. Liksom. Alla var bråkade med kompisar eller något sånt. Liksom. Bara har puttat jag på det här.
Och liksom, fan kan du tänka så djupt på tankar när du fryser?
Thank you very much. Pull the pylons down. Thank you for the sub with Prime. Appreciate it very much. We're going to continue with our reaction as these young people start to get warm.
Jag tänker mycket nu. Möbler och så.
Underbar utsikt här.
Ja, och jag hörde löjtnanten säga att det inte är så mycket kvar ute i fält. Vi ska snart tillbaka. Så jag är nöjd.
Barnen blir lite varma. Har ni frysit mycket i natt eller?
Ja. Då kommer vår överlevnadsinstruktör och säger nu ska vi överlevnadsdygn.
Då så, god morgon.
God morgon.
Har ni sovit gott?
Ja, det är
Den utrustning ni står i just nu, det är den ni kommer ha nästan om dygnet. Så den här mummiga lilla sovsäcken som ni hade innan, den är borta. Då så, överlevnad. Vad tror ni det innebär?
Överleva.
Att inte dö. Du har en poäng. Det behöver ju inte vara enbart när vi är gröna kläder bakom fiendens linje eller så. Utan det kan ju faktiskt vara att vi blir fast i en snöstorm på vägen hem. Kör av vägen. Varje år så är det ju folk som springer vilse i skogen. Man känner hopplöshet. Och ändå är det folk som har överlevt det. Och det är för att de är positiva. De accepterar situationen som den är just här och nu. Men de ger inte upp.
All right. If I ever get lost in a Swedish forest any time of the year, I want her with me. I don't know if I'm going to survive, but I want her with me. She gets it. There's a reason why she's teaching survival. She knows this. Everything she just said is 100% true. We teach the same philosophy for survival. Hopelessness, panic, bewilderment, and rash action is the enemies of survival in any condition. Whether you're up where Lone Wolf Poetics is, up in Saskatchewan, where it's negative whatever right now, or if you're down here where I am right now, and the sun is out, and I'm thinking about cutting grass later because it's so hot, or even in the desert. It's about mental preparedness, mental toughness, and making good decisions is the difference between life and death. The human body can survive a lot of different things, even things that it shouldn't. But you have to have the right mindset, the right skill set, knowledge, and most importantly, attitude. They're going to learn a lot right now. She gets it. Yep. I want her if I get lost in a Swedish forest. Just tell me what to do. We're going to be good.
Och detsamma gäller.
It's going to suck, but we're going to be okay.
Ni ska inte ge upp. Jag vet att ni inte fått mat på, är det 1,5 dygn eller? Ja. Det är ingen fara.
Vi fick lite utbildning om vad man kunde äta, vad man kunde koka, för det finns ju en del vitaminer och sånt att hämta från naturen.
Om man känner sig lite deppig och har svårt att sova, då ska man koka sig en kopp jord. Det är naturmedicin. Och då kommer man känna sig lite mer tillfreds med livet. Då så, här har vi byggt en bivack. Så vi har hittat ett omkullfall.
Okay, the word bivouac is not just, we use the same word, bivouac. It's field camping with minimal resources.
En naturlig svacka, och sen så har vi bara förstärkt genom att förbättra på med granris. Och så är det bara fantasin som sätter gränser.
Satan vad mysigt. 06:45 ska vi stå uppställda. Så missar man tiden får man gå hem. Så. Jag tror det. Jävlar. Det går det. Tjart.
6:45 på morgonen att det skulle vara för att kunna åka buss därifrån. Det var den viktigaste tiden någonsin fått för att alla ville komma därifrån.
Det ska bli kul att se hur man reagerar ifall man ligger och gråter hela natten och mår dåligt och skakar. Hoppas inte. Testa lyft blocket ses med det. Middag.
Ungefär max 75 meter in, 5 meter faktiskt. Du kommer också få det väldigt bra.
Ja.
Lycka till.
Tack. Bye boy.
All right, so she's giving them a lane. They have to stay in the lane. There's your target tree. You can go 45 meters this way, 45 meters this way. Stay in your block. Do not go into the block of the next person. They do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, isolation, personal survival. Fair. But also, they need them where that survival cadre member, that instructor, knows where they are. Because she is now responsible for their safety. And because she's going to be checking on them, whether they know she's there or not, on how they're doing. If you think it's dangerous for them, you know how bad her life gets if one of them dies out there on her watch? She's not going to let that happen.
Övningsdygn är ju det bästa i det värsta vi kan göra. Liksom. Det kommer bli otroligt spännande att se.
Ofta bra. Hemma bäst. Det är att jag värmer upp stenarna med min eld. Mossskogen 3. Där blir jag. Lite blåbär har jag hittat. Letar nu lite kantareller och annat här mummigt att äta. Faktiskt, nu när jag håller på att liksom bygga så här och förbereda.
The most important thing that they need to remember is when they eat the chanterelles, and chanterelles are outstanding mushrooms to eat. In fact, if they got chanterelle mushrooms in the forest, you know how expensive chanterelle mushrooms are to have in a restaurant? It's one of the most expensive mushrooms to eat. They just get them in the forest. But if you're getting them from the forest, you have to boil them, roast them. They have to reach a certain temperature. Otherwise, it's not that chanterelles are poisonous, but they can be. Mushrooms are natural sponges. They absorb everything around them in the environment. Flavor, nutrients, but also contaminations. I've actually known of someone in training had this happen. We had to medevac the guy. He ate mushrooms in the field that were totally safe, but he ate them raw. And because they weren't controlled, he ate them raw, and a wild animal peed on them however many, whatever days before, and it contaminated the mushroom. And he wound up with severe abdominal acute reaction. And we had to medevac the guy. So even though you're finding mushrooms and things in the forest, do you know how to prepare them safely? A rabid moose might have peed on him. Yeah, exactly. Because, yeah, pretty sure it was like a dog or something on that guy.
Det är fan lite kul ändå. Om det blir en liten myshörna här, så då blir man faktiskt jävligt taggad. Se om man har gjort en förberedelse som krävs för att klara natten.
Så hela dagen gick ut på att bygga liksom, den där bivacken.
Alltså man är slut nu. Jag känner mig som en zombie. Men alltså det går väldigt upp och ner. Man vill ju gråta ibland.
Man får ju en helt annan uppskattning för de saker man har hemma. Lyxprylar som man egentligen inte tänker på. Liksom bara varm mat. Hur gott det kan vara.
Äntligen. Exakt vad jag behövde. Solen går ner tidigt nu så blir det så lång natt.
Det är AGUn som är sen i slutet i december sen. Om det här bara är liksom genomgång. Vad fan händer då? Helt ärligt, vad kan hända som är värre än det här?
Oh no.
Tja bloggen. Det här är mitt nybyggda hus på, vad fan heter det? Mossvägen 3. Jag är lite så här modern människa, så jag bygger klart grunden utav sten. Så därefter sätter vi lite granris överallt. Så stoppar vi in allting här med mossa så jag kan hålla varmen en natt. Kom, för mig här borta. Där kommer elden vara och här har vi en lång stock där på sidan som går. Som jag kan bara dra in under natten om det blir lite kallt. Jag vill ha mer eld. Därför är det också en reflektor, det vill säga om stenen värms upp, värms jag upp. Om vi går på andra sidan här så kan vi se vad jag ska göra till middag.
Why do you have to be careful when you do this? I don't know if he's aware of this. When you build stone fires, the stones, particularly granite, hard stones like this, they have to be dry. A wet, moss-covered stone has moisture inside the stone. You heat it, what can happen? It can literally explode. He has to be very careful that the fire he makes burns slowly, dries out the rock before it gets too hot. He'll learn, or he'll die.
En av första färdigheter är svampplockning. Här har vi trattkantareller. Här har vi kantareller. Här har vi helt från ingenstans en champinjon.
Don't eat that.
Det luktar svingott.
Don't eat that.
Jag ska festa ikväll. Tallbär. Det här lär det så bra faktiskt. Om vi kokar upp det här ganska länge så utsöndras socker och C-vitamin från det här. Det här är ljung. Typ som lugnande medel när man kokar det. En jävligt fin bädd av extremt mycket granris. Man ligger mjukt. Det är som att sova på mål. Jag har byggt ett fint hus. Jävligt skönt underlag och kommer vara varmt och fint. Vi ses imorgon.
Vad känner du för...
Also, it's very important to remember, you don't need a fucking bonfire for one person to stay warm. In the indigenous tribes of America, they would use a capote, which is a large coat. And the capote had a hood, and the hood had a hole right in the front of it. And for a long time, people didn't know what it was. Jim Bowie, there's a legend of Jim Bowie who bought a capote from an indigenous tribesman. He wore the capote, and in the snow, he wrapped the capote around his body and built a small fire in between his feet and the entire wilderness is around him. And the smoke from that fire would escape out that top hole of the capote. He had a fire burning, a tiny fire was burning inside of his capote on the ground. And he would survive like that for weeks at a time. So you don't have to have a giant fire to survive. You need enough to generate warmth for you to survive. It's a lesson that has to be learned. Because if you can ration your firewood and do what you need, it can lengthen your stay quite a bit.
Den ser jättetrevligt.
Ja.
Vi fick en Celsius, alltså burk, så vi skulle koka tallbarste.
Så om du bäggar den här fläkten lite snett så kommer du med tur trycka in all varmluft i. Och då slipper du frysa ihjäl. Vilket är positivt, eller hur?
Ja.
Däremot de här är jag osäker på. Så de får du inte äta.
Nej.
De här får du äta och sen så får du den här som tröst.
Tack så mycket.
Samma, jättemycket ved, 06:45.
Varmt och skönt. Jag håller på att koka lite kantareller i min Red Bull-burk. Första gången nu på 4 dagar som vi får äta riktig mat. Så det kändes jävligt skönt att få i sig någonting.
När man gör sånt här med kompisarna sen så kan jag tänka mig att det blir mycket lättare. Man kommer liksom ha koll på allting. I princip det enda jag använder min kniv liksom. Det är ganska fränt att veta hur man överlever.
Det tog typ 3 timmar innan jag lärde mig vad jag skulle göra för att kunna somna och fortfarande hade varmt. Men annars har jag sovit helt okej.
Visst vi har en eld, men det är fortfarande pisskallt.
Fan längst dygn i mitt liv alltså. Satan vad kallt det har varit vissa stunder. Jag får springa typ 5-6 gånger och hämta ved men skiten tar slut. Jag vet inte om jägare passar mig jättebra egentligen om jag ska vara ärlig. Jag skulle inte säga att jag är en sån person som trivs jättemycket ute i fält alltså.
Jag kommer ihåg det när jag...
It's also, like he just said, maybe the Rangers isn't best for me. Maybe Hunters isn't the best service for me. Maybe I should go and reevaluate where else I can serve. To be a hunter, a Jäger in the Swedish Army, you have to be suited for it, knowing you're going to be cold all the time. You're going to be hungry all the time. It's just part of the service. Not everybody's ready for that. And this is a great evaluation time for these recruits too. This is the first taste they get of, oh, this is normal? Well, that sucks. I don't want to do this at all. So, yeah, you'd be surprised. It's not for everybody. And this is part of the evaluation as well.
Innan jag ryckte in så kände jag att det var liksom det vardagliga jag ville komma ifrån. Med att det här liksom vanligt att du kanske då går till skolan, kommer hem, pluggar, tränar, sover, äter. Och att det var så rätt länge. Men när man kommer hit och liksom när det är som jävligast så kan man till viss del sakna det liksom.
Det känns fan bra alltså. Det här är inte så farligt. Jag bara håller igång elden.
Torka lite strumpor också. Det behövs, det var rätt blöta.
Första gången jag fick reda på det. Ja men Antonio, vi har bestämt, vi ska flytta till Sverige. Berätta för farsan. Bara vad fan, så hade vi någon jävla lång snack. Men det var tufft i början liksom. För alla kompisar fick lämna tillbaka. Och släktingar och så. Ja, jag förstod till slut liksom. Det var för det bästa liksom. Bättre framtid kan man säga. Och jag ångrar inte det.
Det är som alla gamla jägare och nya jägare säger. Det är bara pannben. Bara orka håll ut.
Alltså kroppen klarar av så jävla mycket. Jag är imponerad. Man får helt nya gränser liksom.
Stäng upp här!
Ja, jag måste ha mer ved nästa gång.
Jag måste bygga en bättre bevatt så jag kan ligga ordentligt.
En timme kvar, men vi är fan i tid alltså. Vi tänker inte missa vad det nu är som kommer.
Nej, inte en jävla chans.
Nej, jag vill inte gå hem.
Fuck.
Nice.
Så går vi skulle åka. Extraction sa de.
Då så, mitt herrskap och dam, då har ni överlevt ett dygn.
Hurra!
Ja, hur mår ni?
Bra! Löjtnant.
Ja.
Jag gick och la mig och så vaknade jag upp och låg både min skål och min spork nersmälta i en fin blandning i elden i morse.
Jaha, vad mysigt.
Ja.
Varför berättar du det här?
Därför att han är ärlig och med ärlighet kommer han längst. Det är väl inga konstigheter.
Nej.
Och din kåsa verkar ju klara sig alldeles utmärkt. Ja.
Jag tror det blir perfekt.
Ja, men det tror jag också. Ja, bra jobbat.
Tack löjtnant.
Väl genomfört.
Panik när man vaknar 8 minuter efter man somnar och bara
vinner.
Och så börjar det sprida sig upp mot den andra veden. Och så bara fuck. Syrtjänst igen.
En kallgugg.
Ni höll ju tiden för en gångs skull. Hurra! Hurra! Men det kommer ni belönas med att bussen kommer att hämta er. Men ni är ju inte över helt än, eller hur? Nej. För vi ska tillbaks till kassan och vårda. Och kanske att ni orkar äta lite.
Pizza.
Det var en sådan befrielse. Jag tror jag aldrig känt...
A freaking tour bus! Alright, okay, I call bullshit. In the US military, they would have picked us up in the shittiest piece of crap truck with no covers, just thrown us in the back of the truck and brah. They get a nice, comfortable bus, probably with heaters. Damn, that's nice. 4-star. Get them a 4-star bus. They're on tour. Let's do it.
En sådan befrielse efter den fältveckan någonsin.
Någon kan ju förklara för dig hur det är att vara utan mat. Och du kan ju verkligen förstå, ja det är ju jobbigt och liksom du blir trött. Men alltså vara utan mat i 4,5 dygn. Jag tycker man lärde sig väldigt mycket.
Radiovarm.
Do you know how nasty they smell right now?
Det var länge sedan jag hörde musik.
Jävlar, värme.
De har ju överlevt. Det är ju huvudsaken. Men nu har de ju testat på den en gång. Så att nästa gång kommer det gå mycket enklare. Under Hagaön så kommer de inte sova. Det kommer vara ännu kallare. Och de kommer att vara utmattade. De kommer ju ha genomfört ett flyktmoment.
Jag ska göra en övning som heter aldrig ge upp. Säg inte det någonting.
På linje!
Det är väl ändå positivt.
Hjälp mig.
Yeah, that was the first example of, hey, you're in the field, and by the way, you live in a country that's cold. Apparently on the next groups, it's going to get way, way worse or better. Depends upon if you're watching this or living it. I'm just watching it. I ain't doing that. All right. Very interesting. I agree, Marisol. That the way I did enjoy the psychological aspects of this, how the training cadre, both the lieutenant and the survival lieutenant instructor, explained how it was going to work, made sure that they understood what was going on. And yeah, it's a perfect indoctrination, but it's also a great evaluation as for those who realize this is for them and help realize those that are like, not for me. Because the stuff that they're going to do in the next episodes, if they haven't made that choice, yeah, it's going to be a lot. All right, there you go. Episodes 7 and 8 of the Jägarsoldat. We had Where's Our Food and Survival, which the next 2 episodes, we're going to be doing those next week. Hope you enjoyed us for that. It'll be episode 9 and 10. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate everyone who has chimed in the comments, both positively and those of you who can't help it be mean. It's fine. I'm just trying to appreciate what they're doing here. And it's really cool to see it. It's an awesome situational awareness. It provides growth for these young people and direction, while at the same time, it's a very interesting evolution to see. Remember the first episode? They come off the car, out of the car, just off the bus. No idea. Now look at them. Complete different. It's just only been a few weeks. So there you go. All right. We'll see you on the next set. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right over there. A big thank you to all my Patreons out there for everything you do. And if you want more content like this, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later. Awesome.